One small step for Q. Get off the floor.
Well, my girlfriend tells me, well, God, but like in a
This is bad. There better be a phase 2 plan. That's all I'm saying. This has got like gum on it. Do you think he scraped the gum out?
Look right here, right there, over here, here.
This is the part that bugs me.
Yeah, right.
Look at that. Oof. Another one. That's how you get free teriyaki?
Teriyaki because I'm Asian.
Fuck. Too sick. I'm still sick. Man, blue steel.
It goes out to Ken Crawford.
So I just got a really dope email. Whenever I have good news to celebrate, gotta get a little bit of pizza.
And then one of that. So cheers.
Thank you. Okay, I know what you're thinking. 2 months off pizza. I just mentioned that in like the first vlog, but time for celebration. Shut down all the lights and sound at the club now. Starkey was dope. It's actually pretty funny because I did lighting for Starkey, I want to say like maybe 4.5 years ago when I was doing shows in Montana, and that was like one of the first shows that I traveled with all my lighting gear to go do for like a little concert thing. It was called the Shamrock Shakedown or Showdown, something like that. Long story short, now I'm out in Seattle doing shows for the same people I was doing shows for in Montana. And I found out today that my my Model 1 mixer, shit, I gotta squeeze back here real quick. So I found out that my Model 1 mixer is really, really rare because someone from New York wants to rent it for BPM Festival in Mexico. So I was telling them, I was actually emailing back and forth, and I said, well, why don't you guys just book me to come out and do lights, because the whole company that they're working with is doing the sound and the lighting. So I was like, I'll just throw my carry-on. I was kind of saying it as a joke in the email, but he said, actually, yeah, we're looking for lighting operators. So maybe we'll be going to Mexico in a few weeks.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Fuck that video. Fuck that Christian video. Christian talk shit about them folks.
I'm not talking shit
about them folks. Take your shot.
What's up?
This is how we do. This is how we roll.
That's Kyle, everybody. One of the Kyles.
I tell you all what to do.
Take it.
Stop filming me.
Take it. That's right.
What a bros.
That's right. So just left Q nightclub. It's always good like hanging out with the people who really make everything work there, especially Kyle. He's you saw a little bit of Kyle right there a second ago, and he's definitely a character. I really appreciate everything that he does at the club. But stay tuned, because at the end of this video, I'm going to divulge my big secret, I guess. I guess it's not really a big secret. I don't know why I'm saying that. But I've been using this color layout view on my MA2 show file for a little over a year now, maybe like a year and a half. And everybody seems to want to know how to use it. And I've been posting videos of me using it and like some time lapses of me programming it. But I've never really actually posted a full tutorial. So at the end of this video, because the vlog part of this was very short, and because my vlog yesterday got taken down due to copyright strike, I'm gonna spend the last half of this video basically talking about how to make your own layout view. And for the last time, I don't give away my show files. Like, the reason behind that is kind of hard to explain, but the long and short of it is, I don't wanna be doing tech support for my show files that I give away to people. I already get enough messages as it is, which I love getting messages, by the way, but I get enough of them as it is where it totally clogs up my life And I can't respond to everybody who wants to know how to do X, Y, or Z, and it would only be amplified if I gave away that show file. And of course, I accidentally brought the Zone 92 back to the shop from the club when we need the Zone 92 for tomorrow with Dubfire. So, good thinking, Christian. I did have ulterior motives for coming to the shop because the DB4 is definitely the sickest mixer ever, and it's been sitting in the shop. I just want to take it home and play with it a little bit. All right, everyone, it's the time you've all been waiting for. I'm going to be showing you, this isn't like a full tutorial, but I'm going to show you a lot more detail into how this color picker works that I came up with about a year ago. So I decided that it's about time for me to let go of it and decide that it doesn't really matter that much that other people have the information on how to build this. So there are two parts to designing this, right? So the first part is the back end of how everything works. So linking the sequences together with macros and things like that. And then there's the pretty side of it, which is you know, making sure that all of the buttons work and they change color corresponding to whichever color button you press, right? So let's go over the first part first, which is the practical side of it. Understand that in this layout view here, all of these boxes are just macros. They're triggering lines of code in the command line. The command when I press, say for example, the spot green button, let's see which macro that is. So if I right click on spot green, it's triggering macro 853. So if I go over to my macro page here and find 853, it's in the spots row here and spot green. So let's edit this. So this macro for the spot green, this is what is inside of that. Whenever I hit that button, this is what's happening inside the MA's brain. So it's saying go sequence 1030, copy all of my empty colors at spot colors, killing the top colors, and then changing the image. And this is all happening in the order of milliseconds, really. So let's forget about the color part. Let's forget about these macros and images. It's just saying go sequence 1030. So if I pull up all the sequences that I'm using with these color sequences, I have it laid out in a grid like this, right? So even in just this layout view, we can see we have a row of 13 colors each, if you consider white a color. It's really no color, but that's besides the point. That's an argument for a different time. So we have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think it's like 13 total, 13 columns, and then like 8 rows, 7 rows. So I need to make sequences for each of these buttons because that's all I want to do really. At the heart of it, I don't care if these buttons change color. I just need them to fire the right sequence at the right time. So I have all of my sequences laid out in this grid, right? So if I just scroll up a little bit here, I have these sequences, and it starts off in like all white, all red, all orange, all yellow, all lime. So the top row is the all colors. Then from there we have the spot colors and the beam colors, wash colors, wash 2 colors. It's laid out in the exact same way as the layout view is. And the macros are all laid out in much the same way. So this is just the grid of macros that I wrote in here, which trigger those sequences. So remember, the first line in all of these macros is just saying go sequence, and then the sequence that corresponds to whatever button you pressed. And that's really all there is to the practical side of it. It's not really that complicated, to be honest. So I pulled up a blank layout view here to kind of replicate what I've already done, kind of do this step by step. So we have our layout view. I'm going to go ahead and change my grid size to 0, so we just have a black background. I'm going to enter setup mode, and then I'm going to say assign macro 832 through 844, and then I'm just going to click anywhere in the empty space in the layout view. And we can see here we have our macros assigned to the layout view.
We want this to be our top row, just like that. And let's just put our spot row in there as well. So I'm going to say assign macro 848 through 860. Those are all my spot macros for firing the spot sequences. And I'm going to click on the screen. So now I have my two rows here, the all white and then the spot row. And the spot row is a little out of whack here. So now if you notice, if I click on these, it's firing all of the sequences still, right? But there's just no color feedback. And it's really that simple. It's all that's happening is these macros are firing that sequence in the top line of each macro. So once you have all the color data for each fixture type stored in these sequences, so like, you know, I don't know if you don't understand programming just sequences and storing sequences, this might be a little bit above, you know, above you. I don't mean to say it like that, but it's true. You just need to understand that each one of these sequences just has the color information for each type that it's changing. So, you know, I store only the white information for the spots in the spots white, only the red information for spots red in the spots red sequence, so on and so forth. So now let's talk about making the color images swap. This requires a little bit of work, and it was a little bit difficult to figure out at first, but that's why I'm showing you this video now, so you can figure it out a little bit quicker. So this view that I'm showing you right now is my image pool for this layout view. Again, it's laid out pretty much the exact same way, right? So we have our top row, which is our the all colors. The second row is the spots. Third row beams, so on and so forth. There is a second pool of images. These are my template images. So what I'm doing when I am changing the images here is I'm actually copy overwriting a placeholder image. So think of all these top images here, the like ones that actually show up in the layout view. These are just placeholders. Okay, I'm swapping different images in and out of the placeholder, right? It's like a user variable. I'm using each of those images as a destination, and the source is being swapped in and out so that it shows up, and I'm basically just copy overwriting. So let's look at, for example, this all yellow macro. So that's macro 835. Let's pull that up. Macro 835, all yellow. So it's saying go sequence, blah, blah, blah. And then it's saying macro 818, and then copy image 372 at yellow column. So now to understand this, you have to understand the user variable yellow column is just a, well, actually, I'll just pull it up for you here. If we look here, it says when I input that text string yellow column, it's actually replacing it with image 244 plus 260 plus 276 plus 292 plus. Basically, it's replacing all of the yellow images, the pool item numbers. So when I hit that, it's copying this yellow filled placeholder into all of these image pool placeholders. So I have a row for all the empty colors, a row for all the filled colors, and then an individual button for each image on the layout view. So I'm copying from either the white empty or the white filled. Any of these empty buttons or any of these filled ones are being copied over top of whichever button I just pressed. Does that make sense? And then I take it one step further. So the all color swaps the colors for the entire row, right? So whenever I hit all white, the entire white row swaps over and it changes the colors so that you can see the entire column is that color. And then when you go to do a different color combination, as soon as you select a different one, the all row gets emptied out and it no longer shows the all color showed up, which I was kind of proud to figure that one out. So for example, let's type this in manually for a second. If I wanted to say have the beam image, so on my beam layout view button, the orange one, if I want the orange one to be filled, all I'm going to say is copy my orange filled image, which is image 371. Then I'm going to say at image 275. And then I need to add /overwrite at the end of it. So when I complete this line, it's going to fill, as you see here, it filled the beam layout view image with the source image that was orange filled. Pretty cool, right? So that's really all the layout view is doing. It's saying go sequence X, where X is the sequence for that color, for that fixture type. And then after it is, I always prioritize, and I don't know if it matters that much really, but in my mind, I think it would matter. I prioritize which part of the macro gets fired first. So the priority for me is not what my color picker is doing on the screen. Priority for me is having the sequence fire exactly when I press the button. So that's why I have it as line number 1 in the macro, because there is processing time involved. No matter how minimal it is, it's looking at line number 1 first. So it's saying go sequence for that color that I picked. Then immediately after that, it is copying the filled color and overwriting that onto the slot that the fixture type image is placeholding. And then after it has copied that image after it has copied that source image to the destination image, it then copies the empty color to all of the other image slots in that row. So it doesn't just keep filling up, because you need to empty out those other ones that have been unselected. And what I would recommend is first start with the sequences. Make a view where you can lay out your 13 colors or however many colors you want and just store those sequences first. Then make a macro page that looks pretty much the exact same and it's laid out the same way, and make the first line of each one of those macros, make them just fire the sequence, and that all it says is go sequence X, right? Then I want you to take all those macros and assign them to the layout view. And then from there you can go into the layout view and edit and change which icon it's showing, right? So you need to make sure that the right image is showing up in the right location. And that is one thing that I've been kind of critical about MA with, is when you go into the layout view, edit layout element menu, there's no pool number in the images, right? It just shows the name of the image, and it's not very helpful because when you overwrite these images, MA automatically renames them. And it's not really a smart way to do it, I think. So as long as you're doing it by row and you're importing all of your images, and by the way, all those images that I have in the layout view, I just made them in Photoshop, okay? For example, the white filled images, and all the filled images are like 10 pixels by 10 pixels wide. And then all the empty images, the ones with the frame around them, those are like 25 pixels by 25 pixels. And then you just import them into the image pool, copy them a couple times, and that's pretty much it. So, I mean, it makes sense to me. I would recommend you just kind of mess around with it a little bit. Make sure you understand how to copy overwrite things, how macros work, how to assign macros to a layout view, and just literally you just have to play around with it. It's something that looks cool and it's kind of a cool utility to have, but honestly, as long as you just have the firing of the sequences, that's all you need to worry about. Worry about that first, and then focus on doing the cool, funny things with the images and copying them. It's really cool to have like your own user interface, but it's not cool when stuff breaks and you don't know how to fix it, and you look kind of like an idiot when the wrong colors are firing or it doesn't fire all the way. Yeah. So with that said, I'm going to call this video quits. I got a lot of stuff to do this week, and the videos are going to be hard to edit, but I'm going to get them up. I really appreciate everybody out there watching and subscribing. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you tomorrow morning. Thanks a lot.